Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am kind of doing a try-on makeup haul, if you will. There are several products that I've been kind of wanting to play with, and it's fun to kind of throw them all into one video and share my thoughts with you guys. So the first product I am using in today's video is this new eyebrow pencil that I personally got from Valentino. It's new to me. It's not new out on the market, but it's new to me. I've had it for about 2 weeks and I share my thoughts with you guys on that. Speaking of Valentino, I have two shades here of the new lip and blush matte color. So I got two shades. I got this really pretty Barbie pink and I was so excited about that shade. Speaking of lips, I also bought this from Givenchy. This is the Universal Lip Balm, and this one is the black one where it kind of changes colors, I guess. I don't exactly know how it works, but it's kind of one of those like mood lipsticks. Remember those back in the 90s? If you're a 90s girl, you know those mood lipsticks that kind of like adhere to your color and your lips and the heat and all of that from your lips and kind of brings the color to it. And this has been sold out on Sephora. Like, it's in and out of stock, and I finally picked it up. So I share my thoughts with you on that. I also have this new palette from Sydney Grace. They were kind enough to send this palette over to me and a few of their other new palettes, which I'm going to use those palettes in another video. This is the one I could not wait to use. This is called Love's Journey. It's a beautiful kind of cool tone palette. And Sydney Grace, I mean, they just knocked it out of the ballpark with this one. The shades are gorgeous. So I play around with that. The new concealer from Natasha Denona. So I have been wanting to test this concealer for a while now. This concealer actually reminds me of the one from Hourglass. So in my final thoughts, I mentioned that I might do kind of a showdown between these two and like do like a comparison video. So if you guys are interested in that video, let me know, because I kind of feel like that would be a fun video. They're very similar. They're full coverage, they're hydrating, but yet set down. Like, there's a lot of similarities between these two, and I'm very curious to see how they compare. So if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know, because I think that would be a super fun video. So that's pretty much what we're talking about in today's video. It's a few things. All of the products that I talk about in today's video, along with the shades, I will link them all down in the description box down below. So with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the video. We're going to start with brows, and my brow game has not really changed for a while. Like, when I find a brow product that I really, really love, I typically don't change it. In fact, I've been using the 24-hour brow setter from Benefit for, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years, something like that. For the product, I've been using the Charlotte Tilbury Brow Cheat. And ever since this came out, which I don't even know when it was, I think it was probably 2 years ago, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, been using it ever since. Recently, I had a comment on Instagram, in my Instagram stories, of someone telling me that I needed to try the Valentino one. It's like a 3-in-1 type thing, okay? So you have the spoolie on one end, you have a blade on one end, and then right here it opens up and you actually have a pencil. That's what it looks like. Okay? I bought the shade Brown. And I have fallen madly in love with this little trio contraption. It's so good. The blade makes the smallest, tiniest little hair strokes. It's incredible. I am low on this brow cheat from Benefit, and I keep forgetting to order it, but like I am like skimming the sides of it, okay? I keep forgetting to order it. But I've had this in my collection for a minute, so I thought, well, let me just try this to get me by until I order that, right? So this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze. It's a brow styling wax. I've always heard people rave about it, and I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about it. I've tried it a few times. Was like, okay, it's cool, but like, I can see why people really like this brow freeze. So what I did was I took one of these like disposable spoolies and I kind of bent it, and you just take the smallest amount, like you don't need very much. And I run it through my brows. So kind of coating each of the hairs with the brow freeze, kind of going one direction and then going back. This is where I kind of like to shape them and get them kind of where I want them. before going in with a brow product. So I'm going to leave that there and let it dry, because that is the trick. Just like with the 24-hour brow setter, it will not work if you don't let it dry. And once this is dry, I go in with the blade on the Valentino and kind of create the hair strokes. And then I take the pencil and kind of fill it in some sparse areas. It's a really amazing, fantastic brow product. If you like brow blades, you will love this one. It makes the smallest, littlest hair strokes. Like, it's really defined. It's not too globby. You can come in at it like this without the ink going down at the bottom and kind of setting, and then it makes a glob on the brow. So I would say this is probably one of the best brow blades I've ever used, and I've used a lot of brow blades over the years. Okay, so I'm going to move on to foundations. I do have a few like new foundations, but I'm still kind of testing them out. But today I wanted to mix the Hourglass Skin Tint with the Ambient Soft Glow Foundation. I have done this a few times and it's gorgeous. Now, the trick is not to use very much, because the Soft Glow Foundation is so pigmented and the smallest amount goes the longest way. You don't want to use very much of it at the end of the day. You just don't. I give them both a good shake. Start with about that much of the skin tint on the back of my hand. And they're both in shade 9, by the way. And I take like the smallest drop. Well, I'm going to have to go change my shirt because it just spit foundation all over my shirt right here. But now that I got this on the back of my hand, I don't want to waste it. The thing that's nice about kind of mixing these is that you get kind of the best of both worlds, as far as you get like this skin tint finish with that beautiful kind of lightweight, radiant look. But with the foundation mixed in, you get a little bit more coverage. And I've been really enjoying it recently. So I'm going to take my BK Beauty 101 brush. I'm going to like start out with the smallest amount and blend it in. The other thing that I like about mixing these two is the foundation is a tad bit green on me. And so I have to be careful wearing it anyway, because it just, for some reason, the undertone's just too green. I don't know why. I went into Sephora and kind of looked at all the shades kind of in my range. This was the best option, but it was still quite green. Mixing it with the skin tint allows me to kind of dilute the green cast that this foundation gives me, because the skin tint doesn't have that strong undertone, which I really appreciate. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tiny bit here on the back of my hand, get some on the sponge, and kind of push it into the skin. Okay, so foundation's on. We're going to move on to eyes. And I have been dying to play with this palette from Sydney Grace. This is called Love's Journey. And I love the packaging. I love this packaging. Like, it's so beautiful to look at. Like, these are my tones and I'm here for it. So this is a nice array of like warm and cool tones. So you have like the cool tones here. You have a few warm tones at the top. But definitely I would say it's more cool tone than warm. And I am here for this palette. It is absolutely stunning. I'm going to first go into Dreamboat, this one right here. And I'm going to kind of like sweep that in the crease. And I think I'll also bring a little bit of that down onto the actual lid. The color's just really pretty on its own. Grays are hard to do. They have to kind of have the right undertone to make them work. And this one has like a lavender undertone and it's really pretty. I'm gonna take my Smith 253 brush and I'm gonna go into Captivating, this one right here on the end. Now I'm going to switch to a smaller brush, the BK Beauty 209 brush, and I'm going to go into Us, this one right here. I'm going to go into Everlasting Love, this one right up here. And just kind of use that shade to kind of blend all of these shades together. I'm going to go into Wistful. And kind of place it right there in the center, just to add a little bit of pop. I'm going to use this little contraption that I bought on Amazon. And I'm going to see if this kind of helps me create a wing. I've seen it all over TikTok, so I thought, oh, I'm going to try that. So I'm going to take a flat tip brush and I'm going to dip it into Fools in Love. This one right here on the end. So before I do that, my lips are super pink and I'm going to explain why. I've heard so many people absolutely loving this new balm from Givenchy. It was out of stock forever and then it came back into stock, so I picked it up. It's this one. It's the black one. And supposedly it will like react to your whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the dates are on it. Let me look it up because I can't remember what they're saying it is. A black lip balm that creates a custom berry finish. I guess it reacts with your whatever. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. Anyway, it's crazy how pigmented it actually is. The one thing that I will say is this feels quite loose in here. And I didn't really feel comfortable like opening it up too far because I felt like it was going to break. So kind of be mindful of that. I just opened it up like right here at the base and put it on that way. But yeah, it's quite interesting. And it's like the longer it's on my lips, the stronger it's gotten. So I put it on when I went off camera for a minute and I was like, oh, it's pretty. I'm going to try it and see how it wears and see how it lasts. Da, da, da. But as it sat on my lips, it's like more and more pink. So I just wanted to kind of point that out that's what's on my lips right now. So let's go back to the eyeshadow because I'm all over the place. So I'm going to go into Fool's Love, the smallest amount, because we all know Sydney Grace has like a very pigmented formula. I'm going to hold it, I guess, like this, because I kind of like my liner to kind of like match up with my lower lash line. Yeah, I don't really like that. Am I doing this wrong? I thought you put it like right. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Okay, maybe I'm doing it wrong. I'm going to totally mess up my... I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to mess with that thing because I have a feeling it's just going to completely ruin my makeup. And I actually really like the way my eye makeup looks right now and I don't want it to mess up because it's already kind of messing it up and making it look like jagged right here. And I'm not living for it, so... The tape never fails me though. What I mean by the tape is this. So you put it on and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Right there. So I kind of line it up to my lower lash line and the tip of my brow. That little contraption is not really the easiest to use. Now I'm going to go into a tiny bit of Us, which is that dark gray next to it, and kind of soften the line a little bit. So I went ahead and finished this eye. Let's move on to concealer before we go into the lower lash line. I've heard pretty much everybody talk about this new concealer from Natasha Denona. It has been like all over everywhere. So there are a lot of shades. I did struggle a little bit trying to find my right shade, so I got 2 of them. I have YP5, then I also have YN6. It retails for $30 and it's being described as a brightening, hydrating, medium to full coverage, crease proof serum concealer. I'm kind of surprised by it because the last concealer was a dry, hot, gross mess. That concealer to this day is probably one of the worst ones I've used. This has me intrigued. So that's YN6. The other one is a little bit light. The YP5 is a little light. It is. If you needed a little tiny bit of brightness, it'd probably be really pretty. So I'm actually going to use this color because it just looks to be a really good color. Let me show you guys what it looks like next to my 8 medium from Charlotte Tilbury, because this is like the shade that I wear from Charlotte Tilbury. So this is medium 8 from Charlotte Tilbury, and it's pretty close to that YN6. I would say that the Charlotte Tilbury is a little bit more warm. First of all, the packaging's beautiful. I think she nailed the packaging. It's really sleek and very beautiful to look at. So the actual component and everything is just stunning, and it feels really good when you're opening it. This is kind of a matte lid with the rose gold features, which I think is really pretty. Applicator is nice and tight. The thing that I noticed right off the bat is that the little stopper thing down there takes off a lot of the concealer, which is good because then you're not putting a big glob of concealer on. So overall, I'm really happy with the wand, the overall look of it, and it has a lot of shades. How many shades does it come with? It has 50 different shades. So kudos to her for like bringing it. I mean, that's an incredible amount of shades. So I'm going to put a little bit here and a little bit here. Okay, so that is definitely full coverage. You always hear brands say it's a full coverage. That is full coverage. I'm gonna kind of push it into the skin with a tiny sponge I have here. I think it might be exaggerating my wrinkles just a tiny bit, but we'll see what it looks like once it kind of settles. Maybe I'm gonna use a little bit less this time. I'm just gonna use that much because, you know, maybe I'm using too much of it. And that's why it's a little does go a long way, which is good. Okay, so I definitely like it much better with applying less. This side I think looks much more natural and it's not weighing heavy on those wrinkles right there. So this one is just applying less and it's not that forgiving. You know, there's some concealers, for example, the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin. If I end up getting a little bit heavy-handed with it, it has a little bit of give to it to where it doesn't look bad. But this one, you have to be careful with how much you apply. That's just first impression, you know. What I also kind of like about this is it's kind of rare for me to find a full coverage concealer that I actually like. Most full coverage concealers look bad on my eyes. They just do. We're going to finish up the lower lash line. I'm going to first go into Dreamboat and bring that like right along the lash line. And then I'm going to go into Everlasting Love and kind of bring some color to it. Those two colors together are really pretty. Then I'm going to take this brush, the flat tip brush, and go into Us. Focus that like right here on the outer corner. I was thinking about when I first saw this palette, I was like, oh, I would love to see the looks that Mel would create with this palette. Yeah. So we're going to move on to the blush. These are from Valentino. These are pretty much all sold out, but one shade on the Sephora website. If I find them at other retailers, I will definitely link them down in the description box down below. But I picked up 2 shades. I have Pink is Pink. No, Pink is Punk. I wanted to try this shade for multiple reasons. Number 1, it's quite unique for my own personal collection. Number 2, it's pink. It's really a beautiful, cool tone pink. And we're going to give it a try. The other shade that I got is called Catch Me If You Can. And it's this really pretty kind of blush pink. So that's Catch Me If You Can, and that's 2 layers. So I had to kind of build it up, which I'm not mad at, especially if these are for the face. You don't really want them super pigmented, right? This pink is actually a very beautiful pink. It's a very flattering pink. We'll see what it looks like on the face. Terrible swatch, by the way, I apologize, but that's what it's going to kind of look like as it blends out. And that's actually a really beautiful pink, right? So my lips are kind of stained, which I really didn't think that through. But that Givenchy lip balm stains your lips. So we're going to first go into Catch Me If You Can. I actually really like that color. I was looking for kind of that cool tone pink in both of these because I have so many warm tone pinks. It's a pretty color. Really lightweight on the lip. Like, I feel like I could just reapply and reapply, and I don't feel like I have anything on. It'd be really pretty with the Pillow Talk lip liner from Charlotte Tilbury. That's kind of the vibes that it gives me. So I'm going to be using my new favorite cream blush applicator. I'm obsessed with this brush. This is from Sonia G. It's the sheer buffer. This brush is magical. I am going to put a little bit here. I don't know. Like, it feels like it's not very pigmented. And you guys know I like a lot of blush. So here we go. Going in for the second layer. But the thing that I'm already noticing that I don't like about it is, I'm sure you're probably noticing, because of the texture of it, it's immediately making my foundation underneath it become transparent. All these little spots that were hidden from my foundation are now kind of exposed. And some cream blushes do that and some don't. It just kind of depends on the formula. So this would be pretty on like a skin tint day where you're allowing your imperfections to kind of come through and you're good with them and you're wanting them to show and you're having that skin tint moment. Because I mixed my skin tint with that full coverage foundation from Hourglass, I have decent coverage on right now. And I just kind of feel like this is not what I would pair it with. I wouldn't pair these with a medium or full coverage foundation. That's just my opinion. Let's try this shade. This one is the Pink is Punk. Okay, so that one's a little bit better because I don't feel like I have to use as much. It has a little bit more pigment, but I'm going to kind of go into it one more time just to kind of build it. Yeah, I kind of feel like this one applied a little bit better than this one did. I just don't like the way that this looks. This bright pink, for me personally, is the color that I prefer on me. It just looks better. So I'm going to put a little bit more on this side with this pink color. This is just my thoughts. The bright pink looks better and applies better. It doesn't make my foundation look transparent where it brings all the imperfections from underneath to the surface, because this one is more pigmented, has more opacity to it, and so therefore it covers. Because this one, which is Catch Me If You Can, because this one It doesn't have a lot of pigment. It doesn't have as much opacity. And therefore, when you put it on, it does have that shine to it, right? So it has the shine, which is allowing the imperfections to kind of come through because it doesn't have enough opacity to go over top and kind of cover it up, right? So for me personally, this is beautiful. Like this one is my favorite of the two, which I didn't think that that was going to be the case. Let's put it on the lips and see what it looks like on the lips. Man, you guys, that Givenchy stains your lips. One application, and I have wiped my lips like 3 times trying to get it off, and it won't come off. It's crazy how pigmented that is. So this is not a color that I wear very often, but I really like this color. It's kind of the perfect cool tone. And it's not crazy bright. So a lot of these like hot pink, kind of Barbie pink, if you will, sometimes they're too bright, but this is pretty and it's pink. It's not too bright where it kind of overtakes the look, right? Where you can wear it with eyeshadow like I'm wearing. Personally, I think I would probably wear the other color, which is Catch Me If You Can, on the lip more than I will this pink. However, I like the pink on the face more than the nude. So I don't know, you guys. It's kind of all up in the air, but I'm pretty much done. I'm going to leave it here. Let's go ahead and jump into my final thoughts. I'm going to first start with the eyebrow pencil and the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze. This is actually a really nice product. It does keep them in place, but they don't feel crusty. I don't really mind the crusty feeling. The Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter can feel a little crusty, but it locks and loads those brows. If you're someone that you don't like your brow gel to feel that way, then you will absolutely love the Brow Freeze. And I see why everybody loves it because it is a really, really good product. This is a 10 out of a 10 out of a 10, you guys. Like this is something that I've never heard anybody talk about. So I've always told you guys that you guys always have the best recommendations. And this just kind of proves it. I did not hear about this from another content creator on YouTube, social media, nothing. Someone sent me a message on Instagram, a DM saying, hey, if you're really interested in a good brow product, the new Valentino one is amazing. And I'm so glad I listened because this is my new favorite brow product. And I'll probably still go back and forth between the Brow Cheat from Charlotte Tilbury and this one. I can tell you every time I've used this, I've loved the way that my brows turn out. And the color brown, it's not too dark. It's not too overwhelming. And it's a really natural tone. So it's not cool tone and it's not too warm. It's kind of neutral and it's a great, great brow product. And the tip on the blade is absolute perfection. So that is a 10 out of a 10. Let's talk about this palette. Again, I've only used it once, but I love this palette. And the one thing about Sydney Grace, their shadows are always very consistent. They're super buttery. They're very pigmented. They have gorgeous, gorgeous formulas. And this palette is no exception. It's so beautiful. And if you love cool tones, you will love this. And I've actually started to really love cool tone palettes. And so when I saw this, I was just head over. I was like, I love that color story. Well done, Sydney Grace. Let's talk about the new Natasha Denona concealer. So this is the first time I'm wearing the concealer. I'm going to continue to wear it. But like I mentioned in the application, I think less is more with this one because it does have that fuller coverage. You kind of run into that same scenario with the Hourglass concealer that I love. If I apply a little bit too much of it, it can weigh a little bit heavy. And that's kind of my experience with this one. And I think because I'm so used to the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Concealer that if I get a little, heavy-handed, it blends right in and it's not a big deal. But with a concealer like this and a concealer like the one from Hourglass, you have to be careful. But so far, I really like how it looks. I like how it feels. And even if I take my ×3 mirror, those really like up close ones, It's actually looking pretty good on the wrinkles. It really is. I'm quite impressed with it, to be honest with you. It's a really nice concealer, and I'm going to continue to wear it, and I'll definitely keep you guys updated. But I don't know. Let me know. Let me know if you guys would be interested in a showdown between these two concealers, because I kind of feel like they're very similar, and I'm really curious to see how these would compare. So if you guys want to see me do a comparison between the Natasha Denona and the Hourglass, let me know in the comments. I think that might be a fun video to film, so let me know. Let's quickly talk about this from Givenchy. This kind of surprised me. It definitely stains the lips. So there you go. I don't know how I feel about it quite yet, but I kind of like it. I'm going to continue to use it, and I'll let you know, but I'm kind of on the fence. Like, I like it, but do I feel like it was worth that price tag? I don't know yet. You know, if I paid like $15.99 for it, then I would probably be like, yes. But because it was so much money, I was like, ooh, I don't know. We'll see. Let's talk about this from Valentino. I am on the fence about this formula. There's things that I like about it, and there's things that I don't. Like I mentioned, the application, this shade in particular doesn't have a lot of opacity. It did make my foundation kind of transparent and, you know, allowed the spots and stuff to come up through the foundation. So that's something to kind of take note of if you are wearing a medium to full coverage foundation. If you're wearing a skin tint, then this is great, right? Like, but you guys know I like to keep it very real and very honest. Will I use these products? Probably not. Because I have so many amazing cream blushes that I love in my collection that are so easy to use and kind of easy to throw on, I can sheer them out or I can build them up. It doesn't really, there's a lot of versatility within them. Do I see myself pulling these out and using them on the cheeks? Not necessarily. I would use these. I was kind of hoping for that monochromatic look, but I don't really see them being that special. I feel like I would use these on the lips more than I will as a blush. So, you know, I would kind of go into it for that purpose. If you're wanting a really nice, comfortable matte lip, because this is a really nice, comfortable matte lipstick. It is. It doesn't feel heavy on the lips. It's very lightweight. I definitely prefer this formula on the lips more than the cheeks. I can see myself reaching for these for the lips and probably never reach for them to put them on the cheek. That's just me on a personal level. You guys know I like to keep it real. But if you guys have bought these and you're in love with them and you love them on the face, shout out down below, because this is just my experience and my opinion on them. They do, I mean, everybody's excited about them because they've sold out, right? So it seems like people are really, really excited about these. And I was too. But there's just things about them that I don't love on the face. And when it comes to cream or liquid blushes, I'm kind of particular about the formula, and this just didn't quite make it. Like, it didn't quite check all the boxes, but it's beautiful on the lip. It's a gorgeous formula, very lightweight. In fact, I could see myself wearing this for hours and never feel like I have anything on. So I really like the way it feels on the lips, but will I ever use it on the face? Probably not. I don't think I'll ever reach for them and put them on the face, like, ever. That's just my opinion. I think that's it, right? Is that we've covered all the bases? Yeah, that's it. Shout out down below. How many of you guys have bought the products that I talked about in today's video, and what is your experience? Share with us in the comments. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.